There are tons of cameras out there for live streaming and for in-person church services. What are the best ones for each situation? Which ones should you use with EasyWorship? And what are Dan and my recommendations? These are all great questions, dear reader, and we are here to answer them.
Now be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already, and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future content.
Absolutely. There are so many different cameras you can get that will do specialized things and give you differing imaging qualities. Some are stationary, some can be moved and adjusted remotely. We want to focus on one brand today that we've found to be reliable, easy to use, and that provides a crisp, clean image. These are the pan, tilt, and zoom cameras from PTZ Optics. We've been using their cameras for years now here at EasyWorship, and we wanted to give them a fair review and let you know exactly what we think of them. We were able to acquire their SuperJoy joystick as a bonus, and we'll also be able to review that in this video as well.
Now, PTZ Optics has been around since 2014, and they quickly became a leader in the field of PTZ cameras. They have several different types of cameras available, from USB cameras and webcams to SDI, NDI, and auto-tracking cameras. But what we're reviewing today are the NDI PTZ cameras that come in white or gray, and they also come in 12x, 20x, and 30x zoom options. NDI, or Network Display Interface, allows the video and audio to be shared bidirectionally across a local area network. Now, this means that you can use these cameras across a room or even a campus using only network cables. Now, you don't need to run extra SDI or HDMI cables for it to work. They also support power over Ethernet, or PoE, so you don't even need the extra power supply that comes with them if you use a PoE switch or a PoE injector.
Absolutely, Dan. So let's take a quick look at the available connections they have. Starting with the obvious, there's a power adapter that comes with the camera if you want to use that instead of the PoE that Dan just described. A USB port to power the wireless module that comes with both the 12x and 20x wireless SDI models. A LAN connection supports dual IP, SD, and HD streaming, and there's a line in so you can embed the audio with the stream. There's also an HDMI and an HD SDI port, and all three of these, the network, HDMI, and HD SDI, can output up to 1080p video simultaneously, which in and of itself is amazing. Yeah. There's also an analog connection here if you still use analog output. The System Select switch allows you to choose the resolution you want. You can view the legend in the camera manual, or you can conveniently reference it on the bottom of the camera. The default setting is 0, which is 1080p at 60 frames per second, but you can change it to whatever you want it to be. Lastly, it has an RS-232 in and out, so essentially you could daisy chain up to 256 cameras using these in and out connections and connect and control them with a single joystick. That's a lot of cameras, Dan.
Yeah. And the camera itself is very sturdy and well made, in my opinion. I wouldn't throw it on the floor or anything like that, but if you did bump it or something, it probably wouldn't get damaged. Now, we've taken this gray camera with us to a lot of conferences, and it's been in our checked luggage on flights and usually just wrapped in a t-shirt or a tablecloth. So again, it's a very sturdy camera. I think that most people will set it on a shelf or a table or just mount it to the wall, so it's not really going to be traveling around like ours does. Now, other things you'll get with this camera is, of course, the power supply that you'll definitely need if you don't use the power over Ethernet.
Yep.
An RS-232 cable for connecting directly to a joystick controller, and an IR remote that can control the pan, tilt, and zoom, and recall presets on up to 4 cameras. And you can't forget the manual.
Now, these are very easy to set up and operate, and the image quality is great. You can use the remote that we just talked about to adjust image settings like exposure and white balance. Getting it set up in EasyWorship is also a breeze. Connect it to a Magewell USB capture card, either with HDMI or SDI, or use the network connection and set up an NDI feed into EasyWorship. The price for this PTZ Optics NDI camera is honestly very competitive for what it can do on the market. The 12x zoom version is around $2,200, the 20x is $2,300, and if you really want to get up close, the 30x version goes for about $2,400 if you really like seeing the pores on your pastor's forehead. So now let's talk about the PTZ Optics SuperJoy joystick. This thing is packed with features and makes controlling your PTZ Optics cameras not only easy, Dan, but enjoyable.
It's like a game.
Yep.
Now, this thing does a lot more than we were even able to test, but we'll try to go over as much as we can think of that we were able to test. Now, first of all, the device itself is very well made. It has rubber feet on the bottom, so it doesn't move around on the table when you're using it. The buttons are also rubberized and backlit. And this allows you to see the buttons easily in a dark space. There's also a little click when you press the buttons, but it is still very quiet. The joystick itself is smooth and easy to move around for panning and tilting, and the top twists for controlling the optical and digital zoom, in and out. Now, there's also an on-screen display with information about the selected camera you're controlling, and also displays any settings that can be changed.
Super handy.
Now, we're not going to go into super detail about this joystick because PTZ Optics has detailed information and videos that cover everything that it can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the fact that we're able to connect, our cameras in a different room over the network and start controlling them right away with minimal setup. Now, with the SuperJoy controller, you're able to connect to the cameras via the network like we did, or you can connect it manually with a serial cable to one or more cameras in series, like 256 cameras. There's also an HDMI out on the back to connect to monitor to view the output of the camera you're controlling. It does come with a power supply, but also supports power over Ethernet, just like these cameras. It's also able to control much more than just cameras, Dan. You can control lighting systems, TVs, and more that are connected via IP. The SuperJoy is well worth what it costs, at just under $1,000. PTZ Optics also offers less expensive controllers like the PT Joystick G4 and the Serial Joystick G3 that are $700 and $300 respectively. These are less expensive, but also don't have all the fancy bells and whistles that the SuperJoy does.
Now, like we mentioned earlier, we are huge fans of PTZ Optics as a company, and even bigger fans of the PTZ Optics cameras and the level of immersion they add for your in-person or online church experience. Now, when paired with the powerful simplicity of EasyWorship, who could ask for anything better?
Not me. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you.
Thanks for choosing EasyWorship.
And have a blessed day.